14 years after a deadly fungal pandemic wiped out most animal life, the world had fallen into chaos. Famine and civil war followed the disaster. In this new world where protein was scarce and order had collapsed, farmland became the most valuable thing worth fighting for. A group of armed men approached a fenced farmhouse, drawn by the sight of healthy crops growing inside. One of them called out for help, but it was actually a trick designed to get them inside. As the first invader entered the house, someone stabbed him silently from behind. The same fate awaited another intruder. The remaining attackers only heard whispers before a sniper's bullet dropped them where they stood. Chaos broke out as the survivors ran into the cornfield. A woman named Haley chased one of them down, cutting him with a sword before taking his rifle to kill both him and his partner. One straggler remained, and a boy named Emmanuel followed him. When Emmanuel got his chance, he stabbed the figure with their own knife. Horror struck when he removed the mask and discovered he had killed a woman. The family gathered around Emmanuel to see what he had caught. Cookie bragged about getting a headshot, but the woman warned her not to waste bullets since they were running low. While they celebrated their victory, the stabbed woman coughed up blood. The girls teased Emmanuel for missing her heart again. Sarge gave out tasks and told Emmanuel to finish the job. Emmanuel hesitated but pulled the trigger when Haley called for it to be done. During lunch, the girls whispered to each other until the younger one cursed and had to do push-ups as punishment. Haley asked Rain about her book report, and Rain admitted she had been reading something else instead. The report was due on Monday. Emmanuel complained that perimeter duty took too long. Haley told him that rest only comes after death, and assigned him to make a delivery to Augusta the next day. When Rain asked about getting her turn, Haley said she needed to earn it by following orders. Before sending them off, Haley reminded Emmanuel of their most important rule: never talk to outsiders. She warned him that people would kill him just for the boots on his feet. The next morning, Emmanuel woke early to exercise and box. The family worked together tending their crops. Later, he checked the perimeter as part of their daily routine. Haley trained all of them in shooting, farming, and survival skills. She also kept in contact with nearby farmers using a radio. Haley spoke with Augusta over the radio. Augusta was asking for help because raids were increasing and the Union Army was not providing any support. She wanted Haley to train local farmers, but Haley refused, saying it was too dangerous to expose herself and her family. Emmanuel woke from a dream about a child watching an injured horse. After completing his morning routine, he left to make the delivery to Augusta. At an abandoned factory, he traded spices for supplies and then headed back home. Meanwhile, Haley listened to updates from other farmers nearby. Augusta reported terrible news. Jim and his entire family had been eaten by cannibals. Haley was shocked by this information. While driving through the forest, Sarge found a crashed ATV and collected some rare spices from it. Back home, he showed everyone what he had found. He gave Rain a new gun, and she was excited. Cookie asked what she got, and Sarge joked that it was hard labor to make her tougher. After the girls went inside, Haley told Sarge about Augusta's news. He was stunned, saying that people had forgotten what animals even were. Haley admitted she was worried about Emmanuel, but Sarge said the boy could handle himself. On his way back home, Emmanuel stopped at a lake for a swim. As he was drying off, he spotted a girl in the water and was struck by how beautiful she was. Curious about her, he followed her and discovered that she lived in a crowded shelter with many other children. That night, the family celebrated Danis being declared old enough to become their soldier. She made a pledge to protect them all, then lit a pile of rotting material on fire while the girls danced around it. Sergeant Haley watched from a distance. Haley spoke fondly about her childhood before the world had collapsed, saying it felt good to remember those times. When Emmanuel returned home, Sarge was irritated and asked where he had been. Emmanuel said he had gone to Augusta's place, but Sarge reminded him that was hours ago. Emmanuel claimed he had lost track of time. Sarge was angry that Emmanuel had missed his sister's ceremony. When Emmanuel asked why they burned the rotting pile instead of asking for help, Haley snapped at him. She told him to be grateful for what they had, and warned that the outside world was dangerous. They did not need more people around. She called the girls inside and told Emmanuel to put out the fire. Emmanuel woke from another dream, this time about a pastor introducing Haley as his mother. Shaken by the dream, he went through his routine and then snuck out to the lake. After swimming, he sketched the girl from memory. Back home, thoughts of the girl overwhelmed him. As he began to touch himself, Haley suddenly walked into his room. Caught off guard, he scrambled to cover himself. Ignoring what she had seen, she told him he would join Sarge and Danis on a supply run. He objected, calling it a father-daughter thing. Haley shut him down, reminding him of their ancestors' fight for the land and his duty to support his family. She warned him to fix his behavior and then left. The next morning, Emmanuel left with Sarge and Danis to scout around a depot. At home, Haley told the girls how she had met Sarge in the military. When Rain asked if there were girls her age living outside their farm, Haley remained silent. At the depot site, Danis spotted blood and followed it to bodies hanging from the ceiling. Emmanuel saw them too. 4 armed men appeared, claiming to be Union soldiers helping farmers. They said they had been staying with the recently deceased Fleming family. Sarge and Emmanuel opened fire, killing all 4 men. Augusta had told them earlier that the Flemings had been killed weeks ago. Emmanuel asked to search the bodies, and Sarge gave him permission. As Danis checked a bag, A woman who had been pretending to be dead suddenly rose up and shot her in the stomach. Emmanuel quickly carried Danis back to the farm. At home, everyone rushed to help save Danis while Haley performed surgery on her. She survived the operation. Emmanuel blamed himself, thinking it was his idea to search the bodies. Rain comforted him, saying he always protected Danis like a true big brother should. Haley tried to contact Augusta through the radio to update her on what had happened, but she could not get through. Later, Emmanuel was smoking near the fence when he heard a noise. With his gun ready, he went to check and saw the girl from the lake. She was bruised and hurt, begging for help. Haley gathered all the kids and warned them to stay armed, avoid outsiders, and shoot first if threatened. She explained that cannibals were pretending to be Union soldiers to trick their victims. Haley said that killing those men had left a trail, and others would come looking for revenge. Sarge assigned various tasks to everyone. Before they moved out, Haley pulled Emmanuel aside and told him not to blame himself for what happened. She reminded him to protect his family, stay alert, and be ready to lead when necessary. After breakfast, Emmanuel went to check on the girl, whose name was Dawn, in the barn. She panicked when she saw him, but he calmed her down and treated her injury. Meanwhile, Haley noticed movement at the perimeter. Cookie was not responding to calls, and Rain had not seen her either. Growing tense, Haley told Emmanuel to head south to investigate. During dinner, Rain mentioned her book report again. Cookie spit out her food, which created tension with Haley. Rain then brought up the body they had found at the depot, something Danis had told her about. It had been positioned upright to preserve it. Emmanuel laughed at this, and Haley snapped at him. Feeling dismissed and angry, Rain stormed away from the dinner table. After leaving the table, Haley sat beside her sleeping daughter Danis, and emotionally told her how much she was needed and missed. She expressed how vital Danis was to all their lives. Emmanuel told Dawn that they were in a tough situation and needed answers from her. He wanted to know who she was, where she came from, how she had found their farm, and whether she had family. She pushed back, asking why he was keeping her tied up there. When Dawn asked to use the radio, Emmanuel hesitated. Frustrated, she said she needed to know if her people were still alive. Realizing how desperate she was, he apologized, untied her, and shared a story about strangers who had once hurt his family. He explained why trust did not come easily to them. Dawn understood and apologized for her reaction. She said she needed to contact the Freeman family. When she mentioned Augusta as her aunt, Emmanuel was stunned, and his trust in her began to grow. Haley waited anxiously for a call from Augusta but heard nothing. Meanwhile, Emmanuel and Dawn grew closer to each other. He mentioned his love for swimming, and she revealed that she had followed him once, and had been visiting the same river ever since. Their shared moments built trust between them. The next morning, Haley could not find Emmanuel and went to look for him in the barn. There she found him and Dawn sharing music and having a light moment together. It was clear that Emmanuel had developed feelings for her. When Haley and Sarge entered, Emmanuel froze. When Dawn turned around, Haley, frustrated and angry, struck her across the face. Sarge led Dawn outside while Haley, furious, yelled at Emmanuel and locked him in the barn. Demanding answers from Dawn, Haley warned the girl that she would not tolerate any lies. Under pressure, the girl shared her name and background, saying she had found the place by following the river. Still doubtful, Haley fired a warning shot into the air. Shaken by this threat, the girl finally admitted that her aunt Augusta Taylor had sent her to find them. In a flashback to the past, Haley had been struggling with her broken-down car when Augusta stopped to help her. While fixing the car, Augusta praised Haley's father, but Haley pushed back, saying she was only there for her son and did not share her father's religious beliefs. She admitted she did not believe in God. Augusta urged her not to judge faith based on people's failures, but Haley remained distant. Augusta drove Haley back to the farm, where they discovered that everyone was dead. In the midst of the chaos and bodies, Haley found her dying father. She asked him about Emmanuel, and he pointed toward the barn. Inside, they found Emmanuel holding a gun. Haley took the weapon from him and hugged him tightly, letting him know he was not alone. Back in the present, Emmanuel tried to reach Augusta on the radio, hoping to tell her they might have found her niece. The call connected briefly, but Augusta did not respond before the signal was lost. He called for his mother, and when Haley arrived, the connection had already dropped. She dismissed it as unimportant, but Rain backed Emmanuel up, saying she had seen the signal too. Emmanuel urged Haley to go check on Augusta in person. She refused, insisting that Augusta could take care of herself. Frustrated, Emmanuel told her that she needed to start trusting people, that her constant distrust was suffocating them all. He said he could not even talk to a girl without her interfering. Haley, furious at his words, tried to hit him. He shoved her away and walked off. Emmanuel stormed out of the house, screaming in frustration. He took Dawn with him and left on his ATV. Despite the dangers, back at home, Haley, now worried about what might happen to them, decided to go after them. Sarge stayed behind to watch over the other children. Emmanuel and Dawn arrived at what used to be her family's home. The place was eerily empty and completely abandoned. Meanwhile, Sarge lost control of one of their security cameras and went to inspect the fence. Haley reached a location where she suspected they might be. While searching the area, she stumbled upon dozens of barrels filled with human remains. Rage and horror took over her when she realized what she was seeing. At the shelter, Emmanuel and Dawn stepped inside the abandoned building. There, Dawn confessed that it had all been a setup. Her family was being held hostage by dangerous people. She had been forced to lead Emmanuel into a trap to save her family's lives. This was how her captors operated. They used mistrust to divide families, then struck and took over farms one by one. As Haley searched Augusta's house, someone struck her from behind, and she collapsed unconscious to the floor. Back at the farm, Sarge was also ambushed and knocked out. Rain and Cookie watched as more of their security camera feeds went dark one by one. Alarmed by what was happening, Rain told Cookie to stay put while she grabbed her sniper rifle and headed upstairs. Over the radio, she told Sarge she could see armed men approaching. Sarge regained consciousness to find his hands nailed to the ground by his captors, who were ready to eat him. Summoning every ounce of strength he had, he ripped one hand free and drove the nail into one attacker, then used it to kill the other one as well. Haley woke up in a basement and found Augusta tied up nearby. Rain came under fire but managed to take down a few men before being pinned down. Sarge radioed to her, telling her to get down and take cover. Haley told Augusta about the girl they had found. Augusta confirmed that they had indeed sent her and feared that Haley would shoot her on sight. Haley said that Emmanuel had kept the girl safe. Augusta was relieved to hear this and mentioned that they had hidden some children. Before they could finish their conversation, a man entered the room. The man sneered at Haley, telling her she was different from the other farmers because she never cared about anyone else. Haley, furious at his words, spat in his face. He laughed coldly and ordered his men to tie her legs. Then, without any hesitation, they slaughtered the other prisoners in the room, including Augusta. At the shelter, the girl introduced Emmanuel to her friends and apologized for deceiving him. She explained that she was afraid he would not come if he knew the truth about the situation. He said he was going to find her aunt. She apologized again as he prepared to leave. Back at the farm, the intruders broke into the house. Rain, unable to hold them off any longer, retreated to the basement for safety. At Augusta's house, the man returned to tie Haley's legs, but she fought back and managed to kill him. She grabbed his weapon just in time. When the boss entered the room, begging her to spare his life in exchange for her family's safety, she shot him dead without hesitation. Sarge made his way to the basement where Rain told him that Dennis was hiding in his closet. Sarge grabbed some guns, told Rain and Cookie to stay put, and went back upstairs to fight. At Augusta's house, Haley and Emmanuel reunited, came to an understanding about what had happened, and decided to leave together. Sarge ordered Rain to activate the security shutters and kill the lights, trapping the cannibals inside the house. He then eliminated every one of them systematically. Once the threat was over, he told Rain to turn the lights back on, and they regrouped with the others. As Haley and Emmanuel were leaving Augusta's house, they encountered the girl again. She asked about her Aunt Augusta. Haley told her that Augusta was gone, dead. The girl began to cry. Emmanuel said they could not leave the other children behind. Haley agreed that he should bring them all along. They all left together. Back at the farm, Sarge brought Dennis downstairs and handed her to Rain, then collapsed from his injuries and exhaustion. Near the fence, Emmanuel showed Haley a broken entry point in their security. Haley, annoyed, said they would discuss it later and let everyone inside. Inside the house, two cannibals were pouring gasoline around, planning to burn the building down. Sarge told Rain to let the family back in quickly. Outside, Haley and the children faced more cannibals who had surrounded them. She told Emmanuel and the others to stay put while she charged into the fight alone. Inside, the cannibals went down to the basement. One of them held a sword to Dennis's neck while threatening everyone. The girl found their weapons room where they stored rare spices. As she tried to unlock the weapons, Sarge shot her to stop her. The man grabbed Cookie, but Dennis managed to stab him, and Rain finished him off. When Rain checked on Sarge, she smiled when he joked that people would kill for those rare spices. Emmanuel led the rescued children into the basement. Rain was glad to see him safe until she saw that he had brought strangers with him, and she started yelling in protest. Dawn rushed over to help treat Sarge's wounds. Emmanuel went back outside to help Haley in the fight. She had run out of bullets and was fighting with a knife, already wounded from the battle. She managed to kill 2 more enemies, but her injury left her too weak to fight the third attacker. As the last cannibal raised his sword to kill her, Emmanuel arrived and shot him dead. He held Haley as she asked about the safety of the others. Emmanuel assured her that everyone was safe. She passed out in his arms, and he cried, thinking he might lose her. In the end, both Haley and Sarge survived their injuries, and the immediate danger was behind them. Emmanuel and his siblings were able to return to their normal life on the farm. The rescued children were accepted as part of their family. Around the dinner table, they all sat together as one big united family. Peace had finally returned to their lives.